Hello and welcome to this edition of Bayou Time. I'm your host, Keith Whiteside, licensed clinical social worker with Terrible and Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it. You know, it's one of those times where we see all the difficult things that we want to do in our lives. It's so nice whenever we figure out something we want to do, and those things come to fruition. It's one of those things as we welcome our first guest, Barry Plaisance, the new mayor of Lockport. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate it. All right. Well, let's talk about you a little bit. Tell your story a little bit and maybe how this process went with deciding to run for mayor.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, so I'm the youngest son of Evans and Linda Plaisance of Lockport. I have a brother and a sister, both older. And it was just really one of those things that it was, my degree and my background. I'm a former school teacher, school board member. Well, not currently, but
right.
Former school board.
Right.
Yeah. And it was just a part of the process. It really was funny how it all worked out in the process because I looked at it as different steps in the process.
Okay.
And even though I didn't see it at the time, it was all part of the overall plan, even though it wasn't my plan.
Right.
And so it all really got started with a guy named Reggie Bagala, who was our House of Rep in our area.
Right.
And I wanted to run for school board, and he was adamantly against it, but I did it because the school board is complicated.
Sure.
Financially, it's complicated. There's a lot of red tape you have to go through. And I knew if I could do that and do it well, I figured, the town is more personal. Mm-hmm. And so I did it, and he ended up passing away probably a year later.
Oh, wow.
But I made a promise to him that I'd run.
Okay.
Just didn't know when. Okay. And it worked out. The timing was right, because I think most elections are about timing.
Right.
And it worked out well, obviously, in the election. But it was all a big step, really. Every step along the way, even though I didn't see it at the time, it was part of it. Yeah. And I was appointed for the Lafourche Game and Fish Commission.
Right.
And then I ended up, it didn't let me continue to be on that board. And then here came the school board about a year later. And it just was part of the process. And even though I didn't see the steps, they were there.
It's kind of nice to be able to see how things kind of work out for us, whether it's our plan or intention, right?
Absolutely.
And so a lot of times, I don't know that people always understand until after the fact, call that post facto, that we have this learning and this understanding of, oh, that was just to prepare me for this.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was all part of the process. And a couple of weeks ago, we buried my wife's uncle.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Chris Dontan.
Oh,
and again, part of the process, right? Even though I didn't see it at the time, he's literally buried right around the corner from Reggie Bagala. And it all became full circle. I had to go talk to him, of course, for a few minutes. And I had a couple of tears. I mean, I miss him dearly. I grew up across the street from him. He bought a house across the street from my mom.
Wow.
Back in, 95.
Wow. Mid-90s.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a long time ago.
Yeah,
I was doing the math the other day.
Right.
It's like, wow, that's a really long time. That's 30 years ago.
It is. And so we were always friends. We became very good friends when I moved back into town in 2006 after Katrina. I was living in Mississippi. And we became the old friends again.
Okay.
And but it was really ironic, though, because it was all full circle, right? So his wedding, of course, was, very early on in COVID.
Okay.
And so you really couldn't do much of anything.
Right.
And
very
so
limited to anything socially.
Very much so. And so what happened was there was 3 people at his, the mausoleum at his tomb.
Okay.
And it was me, Parish President Archie Chasson, and Orman Otam, who was our councilman. And again, the full circle, who endorsed me? Orman Otam and the parish president, right?
Right.
So it really, even though at the time it didn't really make sense.
It makes sense.
It makes sense now.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about running, and then we only got a couple minutes left in this particular segment, and becoming the mayor?
Yeah, so we started the process really early on. We pretty much came out and announced we were running in February.
Okay.
But I needed to get my name out there because a lot of people knew my dad. My dad's helped so many people in town as a mechanic.
Right.
But I needed to get my face and my name out. Even though I ran for school board, I was unopposed, so people didn't see me out there doing a bunch. But I needed to get out
family.
there. Yeah, they're my rock. My wife is such a rock. My son, he is, he's all in.
Okay.
And that's what
nice.
it's about.
Okay. Well, it sounds pretty clear to me, kind of just looking at the pictures here in your story, that's one of those things that it was very clear that this was something you were kind of meant to do, and it's something that you're committed to do with family and community.
Absolutely. And this is all about doing the right thing and doing it. We're going to work hard every day for our community, but doing it right for our families.
Right.
For making the investment in our youth, which we haven't made in a really, really long time in our town.
So, Mr. Mayor, you were telling us a little bit about the focus that you have about making sure that the community, the kids, and those people are kind of represented. Let's talk a little bit about how easy that's been to start with, and kind of how the planning has gone for that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's actually been an easy transition.
Okay.
Of course, having a 10-year-old, I know what he likes to do.
You have an expert in the field, right?
It definitely helps.
Okay.
But we have some really good things that's about to really kick off in Lockport. So Friday night we have our movie night and basically our introduction of our Grand Marshal, who is Mama Jo Falgu.
Okay.
And she's so well deserving. She does so much in our community.
Okay.
It's really been a pleasure to be around her the last couple of weeks. I mean, she's just an awesome person.
Okay. And so tell me what movie night's going to entail.
Yep. So, all right. So Friday, December 2nd, we're going to open the doors around 6 o'clock.
Okay.
So what ends up happening, you have Santa Claus, of course, is introduced for the kids.
Okay.
The Grand Marshal also is going to be introduced. Right. And then we're actually going to finally, from the last couple of years, we haven't been able to do it much, issue a town proclamation to our Grand Marshal.
Okay.
And so, but one thing's what's really nice about the event, we have food. We're going to have hot dogs, chili, which Mama Jo's chili is world famous.
Oh, wow. Right, right.
It is great.
Right. Okay.
And it's all free. We're going to have s'mores for the kids as well. And there's one other thing that's really critical, that every kid who shows up, they'll get a free gift.
Every kid gets a free gift. Every kid gets a present, right?
Every kid's getting a present.
Okay. Tell us where that is. I know it's at 6 o'clock.
Yep, 6 o'clock at the Lockport Rec.
Recreation
facility.
Center.
Yep.
Okay.
And so it's technically not in Lockport. It's right outside of town.
Right.
And it's there because, we don't have power still in town.
Okay.
At the park where it usually is. So
Okay.
right. We're gonna have that.
Hey, we got to have things where they can take place, right?
Absolutely.
Where people can enjoy.
And so the movie is Polar Express.
Oh, great show.
Yep. So we have a big blow up screen projection. So it's a really nice event. We went last year for the Grinch, so it was nice.
Very cool, and it's going to be perfect winter weather.
Yep.
So it's going to be nice and cool. So we want the kids to be able to come out 6 o'clock at the Lockport Rec Center. And if people want more information, where can they find that information?
So all the information is on the town's website, not the website, the Facebook
page. Okay.
Also on the PD's, Lockport Police Department's page as well. They can see the route, the parade route, and all the information that we just gave out.
Okay. And so that's Friday. Let's talk a little bit about this parade that's going to take place on Saturday, because I know that's important. We actually have some information, Jen, if you could put that flyer up, that people can enjoy on Saturday, December the 3rd at 5:30 p.m. It's going to be the Lockport Christmas Parade. Tell us a little bit about this route and what people can find out.
Yeah, so it's a great route. It pretty much takes it through most parts of town, which, even if you don't live on the street, Lockport's small enough, you could walk over to the corner.
Right.
Of course, it starts promptly at 5:30. They start rolling at 5:30. So if you at 5:31, you're gonna miss the very beginning. but it goes throughout most of the town, all through the front and the back of town. But it's a big parade.
Okay.
We have about, I think, approximately 50 units.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That is a huge parade.
Yes. So 50 different units plus
Okay.
2 marching bands.
Okay.
And lots of other bits and pieces in between. It's a really great event.
Okay. So you guys have obviously been working on this for some time. And now that you're in office, everything kind of feels good about bringing it to the people, right?
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of excitement in town, which obviously the election brought a lot of excitement.
Right.
But this is just the exciting time of the year.
Right.
I mean, it just falls perfect.
Right. And so for having a very supportive wife, having a 10-year-old son, what's your son's name?
Hudson.
Hudson. So having Hudson as your expert, knowing what kids want, 10-year-olds are perfect because they know what younger kids want, they know what older kids want, and they certainly know what they want.
Absolutely.
So Hudson, thank you for helping Dad figure out what to do. That's awesome. We appreciate it. Tell us a little bit about some of the vision that you have for the town of Lockport as their new mayor.
Yep. So I think that was a big part of our election. We actually have what we have in place is a 10-year plan.
Oh my.
And so the vision is to create a better sense of community for our area. And it doesn't just include Lockport. I mean, we're going to reach out to people in Matthews, people in Valentine, people who really support our town. Because what it's about in our town is the small business community.
Right.
We'd love to have large, businesses. Of course we would.
Sure.
But it's the mom and pops that have really supported us for a very, very long time. And so, but our sense of community, we've gotten in a really fast-paced society, of course. But the goal is to every once in a while stop and say, this is some of our history. I carved duck decoys, right? Just like Robbie. I know you've interviewed Robbie.
Right, I sure have.
So at the end of the day, it's about doing things like that, a boucherie, right? Most of our kids have no idea what that is.
Right.
And we're going to plan on doing some better events in town, hopefully monthly, every other month, of course, would be great.
Right.
But the goal is to bring our sense of community back to us.
Okay.
It's not about money. It's about bringing us back together. That's
Right.
what's important.
About slowing down a little bit. And I've spent enough time in Lockport to get to know the people. I've worked down there, and it is truly unique in where it is. But I love the fact that you're trying to pull in people from other areas supporting those small businesses. And it sounds like with the vision and the plan that you have, that those things are going to work out right. It seems like it's the right time for you and your family. And so congratulations once again. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
All right. And that's Mayor Barry Plaisance over in Lockport. And we appreciate him joining us. Don't go anywhere. A lot more Bayou time when we continue.